came from. There's another view of the heaven-earth mirror using a linear sort of perspective. So I combined these elements of a dog star with simultaneously representing a goddess of knowledge and twins. And you come up with the founding myth of Rome. This is the Capitolian wolf feeding Romulus and Remus, who were the sons of Mars. Basically, you're ending up back on Mars again. This is a religion that propagated from the first people who survived the flood, the first people who actually came in contact again with the remnants of the Nephilim who were left after the flood. They started right back up where they left off. And this is true because when the Israelites actually came into Canaan, they encountered the Nephilim again, or the descendants of the Nephilim. That's recorded in Exodus and in Joshua. So this is how they actually fit. The heavens actually fit over the earth, especially the ones I was talking about. They extend 15 degrees over the prime meridian each direction, so 30 degree swath from here to here. And you can see that Rome's right about there. Rome's these guys' footstool. There's a lot of other orthographic toponymy that you'll see here that represent how heaven connects to the earth. Over Cydonia, over where Turkey is, we're just talking about the lines that run from pole to pole here. Over Egypt, over Greece, Taurus is dominant. The bull is dominant. In Turkey, you find the Taurus Mountains. It's not just a coincidence. There's also the story of how Crete, the Minoan civilization, was founded, and the demigoddess that Europe is named after, and that's Europa. She was a Sidonian princess. She was the daughter of Agenor, the king of Sidon. She was abducted by Zeus, according to the myth, and taken to Crete. Zeus was in the form of a bull. She was abducted, and when Zeus grew tired of her, he married her off to one of the indigenous locals who was king at the time, named Asteres. And Asteres just means stars, so she became literally the queen of stars. So that refers back to Sirius again. What's really interesting about this map that I have up is that word, Cania. During the Byzantine Empire, there was a kind of back and forth pull of this land between the two capitals of Rome at the time. And finally, the Venetians came back here from Italy, so that Rome was in charge of it again. They named it Cana, but it had previously been named Kydonia. And the king of Kydonia was named Kydon, the corruption of the word Sidon. You can see here Kappa, an old form of iota, delta, omega, Kydon. And here he is being suckled by a wolf. That's where Romulus and Remus were. The reason for that is because it's symbol. It's cryptography. It's the symbol of a religious system that was propagated with the indigenous people that moved outward from Sidon, that moved outward with their technology and their ability to travel on the seas like no other people could, because they had anchored the heavens to the earth. Underneath Taurus is Orion, and Orion is played very prominently in ancient history. The Minoan culture, they had the cult of the Minotaur, and Theseus here is dispatching the Minotaur. Osiris was known as Apis at times, so he wore the bull head but had a human body. So this is incorporating both the symbols of Taurus and Orion. Orion is the brightest constellation in the northern hemisphere. Isis even shared a version of this bovine form too as Hathor, and that's the temple of Hathor in Denver is where that star came from that I had previously on the screen. This is pole jumping. Women in Minoan culture were really into it. And the symbology escapes me a bit, but I think it's harkening back to the abduction of Europa herself and also the heaven to earth mirror. And even the name Europa leads us back to that first encounter of heavenly knowledge with the first human being on earth. Because Euro in Greek means to perceive. And I put the Strong's number here because it's a pretty common Christian tool. It's a pretty common Christian lexicon. So you'll look up and see that I'm not just throwing this out without thinking about it. It means to perceive or see or have something, like your eyes open wide. And appa, or os, from Europa, means eyes and is very closely related to the word snake. And I think this is a biblical precedent for it. That first encounter with the first human and the first extraterrestrial, an angel. The serpent said, "Did you surely not die if you eat the fruit? For God knows in the days you eat from it, your eyes will be opened and you'll be like God, knowing good and evil." And it kind of explains for me why these statues that you always find of the goddesses in the Minoan cultures have just huge bug eyes with lapis lazuli placed in it, because lapis lazuli is a picture of our sky. It's blue, and it fits the word Europa perfectly. The one who perceives, the one who understands. It's Eve, the first one. That's a Gnostic paradigm that most people have never probably encountered. And getting back to the heaven-earth mirror, we have another picture of a agrarian goddess. This is Virgo. She's in heaven, so she has wings. She has a branch in one hand and a sheaf of grain in the other. There's another rendition of her, again with the wings and the sheaf of grain and the branch. And here's her positioning over the earth. She dominates North America. I came across this interesting picture from some grimoire. It was probably around 1920. You can see the same features, the wings, the sheaf, the branch in her hand, and she defiantly points at North America, where she actually does in fact dominate. And even our capital has allusions to the idea of a virgin goddess, Virginia and Maryland bracketing Washington, D.C., the capital of Maryland being Annapolis, which is, Anna was the mother of Mary in the New Testament. Annapolis is the city of Anna, or Anna actually means the promise. And here's your Sidonian star in Washington, where we propagate our control over the earth. Getting back to the heaven-earth mirror, you have Virgo, and underneath her, on the same longitude, Corvus pecking on a snake. If you superimpose that on the earth in the same longitude, you have it situated over Mexico, and there is a precedent there also. Interesting story. The god of war for the Aztecs had prophesied to some of his warriors that they should move from the northern place that they were, right, in Texas, south. And they ended up finding this exact symbol, which was part of the prophecy. When they find the symbol of an eagle with a snake on a cactus, they would build a city. And they built their city right where Mexico City exists now, in a huge swamp, which lies exactly at 19.47 degrees latitude. This is where Leo dominates, pretty much the only continent. And South America is home to some of the most incredible megalithic monuments in the world, especially at Cusco, Peru, right here at 72 degrees west longitude. There's a picture of one of the geomantic structures found at Cusco. This is the buildings at Sacsayhuaman that actually flow into the city of Cusco, Peru. There's a woman standing